Everyone out to Washington City Council. Public notice is hereby given that the Washington City Council will hold a public electronic regular meeting on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 6 p.m. It's hosted here in our beautiful City Hall. The meeting will also be broadcast via YouTube that you can find on our website for anyone who'd like to review that or watch it again. Tonight we have a special invocation by Major Bob Schmig from the Salvation Army.
Thank you. Just going to say a prayer. It's kind of a sad day, as you mentioned. Let's pray. Father, we are a nation in a world that's in need of you, in need of your love, in need of your power and your strength. We just pray that we would turn to you at this time, that we would be the embodiment not only of truth, but of love, which are one and the same. We pray that we can stand on our convictions firmly and not waver, yet at the same time show love and kindness and respect to those around us. May we as a community here continue to embody these things and to reach out and help others and to love and to respect one another. I thank you for this the City Council, those represented here in the City Council. I thank you for their service to you and their concern for the community. And just pray that you would be protecting each of them and guide them, give them wisdom in the decisions they make. We thank you, Lord, and we hold our family a little bit tighter tonight. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Major. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by a new Washington City Council member, Parker Belknap.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Parker. On the heels of a beautiful prayer, I hope that you'll indulge me tonight for a moment of silence. Thank you. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Charlie Kirk and his family. It's my plea tonight that we resist political violence in every form, no matter what our affiliation is. This should move each of us Americans to vigilance, accountability, self-reflection, and resolve. Thank you. I would like to excuse Mayor Staley tonight. He's in Europe and enjoying a much needed and deserved vacation. Council, I'm ready for an approval of the agenda. I'd like to mention that there is no need for a closed session tonight.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as outlined for the September 10th, 2025 meeting.
Motion by Councilman Coates, a second.
Second.
By Councilman Belliston, all in favor? Aye. In the way of announcements, we do have a couple of things to discuss. Tonight, we are privileged to have a proclamation that I'll read momentarily after I announce some of the other events that are going on. September 17th, of course, is Constitution Day. There are several activities. One of note is at the County Commission building that any of these ladies and gentlemen can tell you about. They'll be in the program a little bit later, where they have a live reading, recitation of the Constitution and some of its important messages. Tomorrow is 9/11. 23 years ago. You all remember where you were at probably when that happened. I was at Burger King getting a Coke when I heard that. think everyone can remember those pivotal times in our lives. At Washington Elementary, tomorrow at 9 a.m., there's a 9/11 program. And then later on that day, the American Legion Post 912, they'll have a remembrance and a flag retirement here at Veterans Park at 7 p.m. There is a proclamation regarding Constitution Week that I'd now like to read. Washington City Proclamation. Whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas the Constitution stands as a guiding document of the greatest nation in history. Serving as a model that many other nations have sought to replicate. And whereas the Constitution safeguards the liberties of American citizens by protecting them from government intrusion, ensuring rights that are endowed by God and cannot be taken by man. And whereas the Constitution establishes the United States of America as a constitutional republic in which citizens are represented by those they elect. And whereas the Constitution has withstood the test of time and continues to inspire people and nations around the world. Now, therefore, I, Kurt Ivey, Mayor Pro Tem of Washington City, do express sincere gratitude and reverence for the Constitution of the United States of America. And proclaim this week of September 17th to September 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week in Washington City, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to recognize and celebrate this foundational and inspired document. Let us teach it, learn from it, live by it, and hold our elected office officials to its standard. May it continue to guide our nation for centuries to come. In witness thereof, I have set my hand and caused the great seal of the Washington City, Utah to be affixed this 10th day of September, 2025. Thank you. We have some special guests here tonight. They've asked for just a couple of minutes to come up and share some thoughts. You may all come up if you would like. This is a special group that ensures that young people that need to learn the Constitution, older people that need to remember it, do indeed remember it.
It was 238 years ago at 4 p.m. on September 17th, 1787, our Constitution was signed in the Pennsylvania State House, which is now known as Independence Hall. It was signed by 39 of 55 delegates at the Constitutional Convention. Some refused to sign due to lack of a Bill of Rights, which would be ratified 4 years later. The Constitution set forth fundamental laws and principles that would govern all American citizens in a new nation and limit the power of government with a system of checks and balances. With the passage of time, the Daughters of the American Revolution became acutely aware of the significance of those bold steps taken on that important day was beginning to wane. They petitioned Congress with a resolution to set aside September 17th through 23rd each year to observe and commemorate the adoption of the United States Constitution. That resolution became public law number 915, signed by Dwight Eisenhower on August 2nd, 1955. On behalf of the Color Country chapter of the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution, we wish to thank you, Mayor Stahaley, Mr. Ivey, and the Washington City Council for issuing this proclamation and continuing the tradition in our city of celebrating and honoring this important anniversary in our nation's history.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you each just take a minute and share your name so we can know who you are and hopefully share some gratitude with you and your efforts.
I'm Karen Sorensen.
Thank you.
I'm Valerie King.
I'm Deborah Jacobs. Ann Murphy.
And I'm Steve Sorensen.
Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for your hard work on such a noble cause. Thank you.
Thank you.
They would like a picture. If we can go down and join with them, take a picture.
I think Mr. Sorensen, you're dressed for a picture.
Anybody else would like a poster? Okay. Okay.
You all, one, two, three.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Appreciate all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Prior to our city council meeting, we had a special meeting down in the beautifully refurbished Heritage Hall where we were introduced to our 2025-26 Washington City Youth Council. You'll see them in the audience here in their black dress shirts. We have others that are not here, but we had a nice dinner where we introduced each of them and had their parents there for a nice dinner. And then something that you might find interesting is that each one of these youth council members has an assignment or a job that correlates to municipal government. And their person that's opposite of them in the city, they've been introduced to, and they were able to meet them today. And they're encouraged to reach out to help learn what their counterpart does at the city in the real life world. We have the mayor, we have city council members, we have city managers, we have planners, we have people over our public safety. We have, and this is something that I have the privilege of working with the youth council as the liaison to the council, and I consider it a privilege to be able to do that. What I've seen out of this group is that they're amazing. I think youth today deal with a lot, and I can see this group be the leaders that we need. There's students here that are represented from Pineview High School and Crimson Cliffs High School. I don't believe there's any others than those. But what we'd like to do now is that we have elected to administer the oath of office in our council meeting right now, and that will be conducted by Tara Pence, but our city recorder, Tara Pence. But before that happens, I would like to invite up the new Washington City Youth Council advisor. When this was started years ago, we've had the same advisor for a lot of years. We wish to give thanks to Carmen Snow and all of her hard work that she's done for the Youth Council over the years, and everything that she's done that means so much to all of us and to a lot of others. Annie is our new director. We'd like her to come up and say a few words. And then Annie, what we'll do is have you organize them as you want them to be for our city recorder to administer the oaths of office. We also have two employees at the city that works with our youth council as well. Michelle Cummings, and I don't know your last name. And Tess Prisby. So we want to recognize them as well. Come stand up here with Annie. She needs some shoulder partners up here.
And we just wanted to introduce Taylor as our mayor, and Taylor is going to say a
Time
few
is
words
yours.
for us.
This is the mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Kurt Ivey, and thank you, City Council, for your time, as well as before this meeting. I, Taylor Brown, as the mayor of the Washington City Youth Council, I would like to introduce our theme this year for 25-26, and it is to be the connection that unlocks change. I know that the connections that we're able to have throughout our city, specifically with many members of the City Council, as well as others in city positions, are what gives us the knowledge and the confidence to want to have a better world and to live in a city where we can choose and we as the people have that power. And so I wanted to say thank you to our advisors for the much work and time that they give into us, and know that the connection and the change that we have because of that connection is something we all have and that we all can do for our city, our state, and for our country, as well as the world. Thank you.
You see what I mean? Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, youth council will just come up here and Tara will administer the oath of office.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support, obey, and defend. The Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Utah. I do also solemnly swear. That I will support, obey, and defend. The laws and ordinances. Of Washington City. And I will discharge the duties. Of my office with fidelity.
Why don't you stay right there? Let's get a picture. We'll give them just a minute. Okay, council, thank you for allowing us to take a few pictures there and take a minute. Are there any declarations of abstentions or conflicts that we need to declare? Seeing none. Let's go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. It includes approval of the minutes from our 8/27/25 meeting, the board audit report that was in your packet, and consideration to approve the board audit report from August 2025.
So made, I'll make that approval.
A motion by Councilman Casperson, second. Second by Councilman Coates. All in favor? Thank you. Number 6 is ordinances. You have a consideration to approve an ordinance for zone change Z-25-19 from C3 to PUDC located at 650 East Ara Parkway. The applicant is Justin Harriman and Bush and Gudgel. This will be presented by our Community Development Director, Eldon Gibb.
Thank you, Mayor, Pro Tem, Council. I've got the map up here of the parcel we're looking at. South end of the city next to the airport. And I'll pull up this overview as well. That highlighted area is what we're discussing. On December 6, 2023, Washington City approved Z-23-10, changing approximately 275 acres from C3 to PUDC. The applicant of this original approval has since acquired an additional 20 acres of land, which is highlighted there in yellow, proposing to develop this area so that it matches the previously approved plan. The PUDC request is for the purpose of developing the acreage into a commercial/industrial distribution center consisting of a warehouse-type building. The applicant is proposing this development to build out as previously approved with the same exterior building elevations, landscaping theme, parking stall count, height, and use list as shown in the exhibit. Staff has reviewed the request and has no concerns. The Planning Commission reviewed this request on September 3rd and unanimously recommended approval of Z-25-19 based on the findings and conditions noted in staff report. That concludes staff to answer any questions you may have at this time.
So any questions for Eldon? Any of you, would you like the applicant to come up? We ready for motion?
So just for clarification, this, what we're doing is adding this to the existing, and
That's correct.
under all the same rules and
Yes.
I mean, I'm ready to make a motion then that we approve. Oh heck, now I gotta get the agenda out. That we approve the zone change Z-15-29 from C3 to PUDC located at 650 East Ara Parkway.
Councilman, that is good. It's just Z-25-19.
That's what I said, right? Z-25-19.
Thank you. Okay, motion by Councilman Belliston.
Yep.
By Councilwoman Casperson. Let's do a roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Belliston. Anderson.
Aye.
Aye. And Councilwoman Casperson.
Aye.
Is unanimously. Thank you. Okay, next item is number 7. This is a conditional use permit. It is a continuation of consideration to approve conditional use permit C-25-07 for a commercial building located at approximately Gross Parkway and Waters Edge Way. The applicant is Zion Surf Development, and this will be presented also by our Community Development Director, Eldon Gibb.
This item was tabled during the August 27th City Council meeting. Since this time, the applicant has provided additional information regarding the water filtration process and 2 case studies, and along with an updated landscaping progress report. Before discussing these items, I would like to mention conditions 14 through 18, which were taken straight from the amended site plan supplemental agreement. Mayor Pro Tem, if you don't mind, I'll just read through those real quick.
Would you please? Yes.
For condition 14, all of the water used in relation to the surf pool shall be supplied by secondary water from the developer's private secondary water sources. Condition 15, the discharge of byproducts or outflow from any water treatment system such as reverse osmosis system or other water treatment technology that is installed on the property for treatment of secondary water shall not be discharged into the city's systems. Condition 16, plans for any secondary water treatment facility installed on the property for the processing and discharge of any and all waste stream, brine solution, or other byproduct of reverse osmosis shall be submitted to the city for approval. Condition 17, culinary water shall not be used in any capacity to treat secondary water sources. And lastly, condition 18, the surf pool as identified on the plan shall be constructed as a permanent structure with the issuance of a building permit for Washington City. That concludes my update. I'm happy to answer any clarifying questions you have.
Council?
Just real quick for clarification, this says for the surf pool, but that was for all ponds or ponds.
Relating to recreational pools, yes.
Because it's more than just the surf pool, it's all of them. So that was the conversation that they're all going to be secondary water that they provide.
I don't believe that's what the record was. During the process for the zoning entitlement, there was a discussion about the use of city culinary water, and nothing was done to restrict this project from using culinary water like every other commercial project in the city is permitted to do, which.
I understand that. And so if they've got.
Just let me get to your answer, which includes their building and also swimming pools that would be akin to like what hotels do today. They have a hotel that has a swimming pool, like a swimming pool at Green Springs. It was acknowledged that that swimming pool could use the culinary waters.
Correct. The swimming pools or for the hotel, but
correct.
The surf pool and the other amenity ponds, pools would be all grouped together. Clarification, they're all grouped together.
As it relates to the water source and the agreement and the amended site plan, yes, those are all grouped as requiring their source of supply to be a private water source, is not the city's culinary system.
And for note, number 17 kind of plays into that as well, Councilman, and that is culinary water shall not be used in any capacity to treat secondary water sources. So that kind of ties into that as well.
I get that. I just wanted to clarify this, that certain small portion of all of the water amenities that are going to be in this project, right?
That's good clarification. Any other questions for Eldon before we bring the applicant up? Ready for the applicant? Okay, we have those that are representing this application. Please come up.
How you guys doing today?
Good.
Council members. Let's see, it was 2 weeks ago. We came prepared, but didn't have our engineers with us today. I brought two of our engineers. We have this are over water. We've hired Cloward H2O. It's our lead engineer, and as well as West Tech, which is a subsidiary of Swire, that is specifically handling the TDS removal, which is the total dissolved solids that are coming from the wells so that we can keep the water clean. I brought both of them. I think we provided you with a packet just showing a little bit more detail of what we're doing. And so I think what we'll probably want to do is, unless you have any questions for me directly first, we were going to have Ian Fife with West Tech come up and maybe just go through the process a little bit, and then you can ask questions.
I think that's good. The one question I have is just, I'm still not clear on where the 1 acre evaporation pond is on the site. It's never been identified on a map that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so we're working with the Alea group there that owns the rest of the site to figure out exactly where it's gonna work out best. It'll be somewhere there. We're not quite sure exactly where that will be, but.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions before he brings up the engineers?
Awesome, okay, Ian.
All right, what would be most helpful? I can walk through the flow sheet and kind of talk about the treatment system or go right to.
Name for the record.
Yeah, sorry, Ian Fife with West Tech Engineering. I'm a licensed engineer here in the state of Utah.
So council, do you have any questions you'd like to ask right up front, or would you like him to just share what he's prepared and then go from there?
Yeah, if you could just do what you said, just a kind of a general overview of it. And we were able to get these a couple of days ago, and I looked through them. I think we all looked through them, and we really appreciate it. You know, this is very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Do you want to bring that up, the flow sheet? I think it's page 15 of 23 of the feed study there. That flow sheet right there, the bottom left corner. Zoom in on that one. Okay.
This is the one that came in 2 days ago?
Yes.
It's a little different than the one we had 2 weeks ago.
Correct. Yeah, this is a new one that you guys just sent to him, right? Yeah. Yep, we had just completed this a week or so ago. So essentially how the treatment system works is, right, we're taking the brackish well water. It goes through a first stage ultrafiltration process, which is very common as a pre-treatment stage prior to going through reverse osmosis or RO. The UF is intended to mainly remove particulates and suspended solids and things that could damage the RO system. So trying to remove particulates.
You mind if we ask questions as we're going?
No.
So where's the well?
Oh, sorry, that I'll have to defer. I don't know the details on that, so.
You'll need.
It's not on your site plan, so we're curious where's the well unit? I've got questions along the way on this too.
Yeah, there's a number of different wells on site, so there's several of them. There's one right by the yellow clubhouse, kind of over by the turf farms. There's another one, maybe Todd can fill me in on. Could we? We could send you a location of where there's a number.
Great. After going through the ultrafiltration system, yeah, Troy, did you have another question? Yeah.
Ultrafiltration, so it goes in there and then goes to the amenity pond.
Yes, the reject from the UF system, correct.
So what is the reject that's going to the amenity pond? Which pond?
So it's basically just concentrate, really it's just going to pull out, the UF, as I said, it was more about particulates, so the suspended solids. It already has, the water quality coming from this well is already very low in suspended solids. And so frankly, it's more of a protection. There's probably not going to be a lot that it's going to be pulling out. The well is has, lots of sulfates and hardness and calcium and sodium and those types of ions will go through the UF system, and that's why we'll need the RO. So the amenity, I don't know the specifics of where the amenity pond or where that goes to, but essentially, yeah, it would just be a concentrated, basically the water quality that's coming in from that brackish well water. You're going to get very similar, because again, most of the ions are going to pass through that. So most of the water quality is going to be very similar to what is feeding the UF system, with probably some higher levels of suspended solids, because that will have been concentrated up in the UF system. Yeah.
Different from the surf water.
Yes.
Right? Because it's going into an amenity pond.
Right.
And then over time, going to be very concentrated in the amenity pond, right, as it builds up.
Right.
So that's why I asked, because part of the project was talking about, well, we're going to have people that are able to go out there long, to stand forward, people are going to be able to go swimming in and things like that, right? So.
Yes. Yeah, the water that's coming into the UF is already of substantial quality to not be, detrimental to human health. And so even the reject that would come out of that UF system would not be detrimental. Yeah. No, good questions. So from there, it goes into a brackish water RO. That's what the BWRO stands for. So the UF is a lower pressure membrane system. When you go into the brackish water RO, now we're starting to remove, osmosis, right, is the movement of water through a semi-permeable membrane from a low concentration to a high concentration. Well, reverse osmosis is doing the opposite. It's using pressure to push all these contaminants against that membrane and hold back those contaminants and send the clean water through. And so we have to go to a higher pressure, usually 60 to 120 PSI to get through the first stage brackish water RO. And coming out of that is your permeate, which is what would feed the surf park. And that will have, at that point, then removed those sulfates, those silica salts, those dissolved solids. That is what makes the well water brackish to begin with. From there, any questions on that brackish water RO step?
So that, basically, that's all you need to be able to get the water from the surf park.
Correct.
After that, the rest of the street is just.
It's to minimize the liquid discharge as much as possible. So that's the rest of it is doing that. It's concentrating it up further so that we can minimize the amount of liquid that has to be dealt with on the waste side. So from there, that's basically what you're taking that brine reject that's coming from the brackish water RO through that recovery tank, and then that's what's feeding the desalter system. And so in the desalter system, it feeds it through an even higher pressure RO. This is now more similar to like a seawater RO system.
Where does the intermittent backwash go?
So the intermittent backwash, what you're seeing there, so that's, we're taking the brine from that to use to backwash those media filters that are on the back end of the system. And then all of that will go into that backwash collection pit, which would then go to the evaporation pond. The desalter system is very similar, but it's even higher pressure because now we're dealing with even higher salts and dissolved solids. And so it goes through the desalter. We're concentrating up those salts and those dissolved solids even further. At that point, it gets fed. Now, anything that gets through that, the permeate is clean and also will be sent to the surf park. And between the two stages, so normally, through a UF filter, you can usually expect around 90% recovery, meaning 90% of the water goes through as clean water and 10% is waste. In your brackish water RO, it's usually it reduces to about a 70% recovery. So you're losing a lot of water that goes through the RO just because of how difficult how many dissolved solids there are. By retreating it through that second stage and then sending, that permeate back up, we actually increase the overall system to be closer to that 90% recovery for the overall treatment, which then means about 10% of this will end up being, waste stream. So with that, the brine from the desalter RO goes into that fluidized bed reactor. And essentially what happens in that process is it's filled with silica sand and it becomes a medium for the salts. So at this point, the salts will be super saturated. And so it's easy for them to come out of solution. Once it hits that fluidized bed reactor, the pH will be raised so that those salts can come out and precipitate out onto the silica sand. And then so there will be that pellet dewatering and disposal. So a good chunk of that will come out as these silica sand particles that are encased in the precipitated salts.
They were saying a couple weeks ago, I'm sorry, I forget your name. Cody was saying a couple weeks ago is going to be going out of the landfill.
Yes.
Truck worth a day, potentially.
Yeah, that would be the worst case scenario based off of our projections would be, a dump truck every 1 to 3 days or so. Essentially what these are, they are 90% solids and 10% water. So it would sit in some sort of a dewatering basin to remove as much water as possible and then basically send these dry pellets to a landfill.
So does this whole system get contained within the building?
That's my understanding, right? Yep.
So then we're. Essentially, this all comes out of the building, so we're backing a dump truck up to the building and loading it.
So can I ask a question? That tank looks like you said it's filled with some sand. So do you also have to bring material in, some sand material? And so you're bringing some things in, bringing some
Yes.
out? Okay.
Yep. So some of the, so sand is one thing, consumable is what I'm looking for. So sand would be a consumable thing that would get replenished. And so you'd have that being delivered in, and then chemicals to do the treatment will need to be delivered at, certain cadences.
So how do you get to it? Because based on the exhibit, it's like back behind the beach area, filtration building. Is that the right building? Am I in the wrong building?
Yeah, maybe you could go back to the screen here. I can help you identify where it's at. Yeah, go to like the far right-hand side. Well, that's fine right there. See the parking lot? This, so on the far left of the long building there, that building's 800 feet long, 40 feet wide. I say the far left, sorry, far right, where the parking lot's a little bit bigger. It sits in about 1/2 of that area.
So how do you get to it? Because if you
Through the
have,
parking lot.
but you have deliveries, you have parking stalls out there. So where's your drive approach and all that?
Oh, and we'll put that in as well. It's a small little spot that goes in. They're like totes that would come in through, that you probably see at Home Depot, is how big these are. Needs like one lane through it to get to it.
Just not seeing it.
Yep. Inside the building, yeah.
So we had plenty of park. So if you're gonna lose a couple stalls here to get that drive approach, because you can't use those if it's a driveway that gets used.
Yeah, correct. I think we talked about this a little bit previously. We have way more stalls and.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was the building back here that only said 100 feet and.
Oh, yeah, no. So that one is more just filtration for the like the pool filtration type stuff, not
Okay.
cleaning the TDSs.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe I was reading the plans wrong, but is the pad for 125 feet long or am I, maybe I was.
I don't know, how big is the footprint? It's not that big, right? Oh, it is 125 feet long.
Okay.
So that
And so
building's
is it-
800
is
feet,
some of
so it's
that-
125 of the 800 feet.
Okay, so it'll mostly be indoors somewhere?
It's all indoors.
Oh, okay, perfect, so, all right.
I'm not seeing where the back of house operations are on this, so.
I think it's front of house. It's right in the front parking lot.
You're bringing trucks and stuff in I call it back of house, because that's like.
That's usually what it is, but it's up front though.
Yeah, it's through the parking area.
Cantilever structure, decks with shade structures and all that on this end of the building.
So that's the other side. Yeah, that's the front of the building where the lagoon is. See now, these pictures are from the lagoon side, right?
Okay,
So
but
this
I'm
is
looking at
really
the parking lot, and I'm looking at,
But the parking lot's kind of the back door. It's where they park, but their front door is the lagoon.
Correct. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. It's kind of threw me off because I'm just not understanding until you're talking about it, but I still feel like it's kind of weird, but.
Are the pellets, I'm just curious, are they loaded onto a tote for a forklift or something?
They're like one of those
that, or-
big bags that you see at Home Depot that
Oh,
carry
okay,
soil.
with the,
You carry with the forklift.
okay,
Cube
with
bag.
the gravel bags.
What's that?
Cube bag.
Is that what they call
Okay,
it?
Probably what I think of it.
Super sacks?
Sacks, yeah.
okay, yeah, that's cool. So you could just back a flatbed in there and.
Yeah.
A flatbed dumper or something. and-
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's great.
I mean, I don't know, do you have more, Councilman Bellson? So one of the things, and I appreciate the info, I always like going through those and understanding how it's working. I think the question that I have And I don't know if you can answer or not, but we have the pond. Which pond? Which pond are we putting in? What's the maintenance plan for the pond? Because at some point, it's gonna have to be cleaned because they're gonna have the drying beds. And I'm
Are you
concerned
talking
about
about the evap pond?
the evaporation pond.
Okay, yeah.
There's both, right? Because you're sending all the discharge into the amenity pond. That's
Yeah, but the first one, the first one's a little different. Because can you pull that back up? I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it.
Yeah, only the backwash waste from the UF, that first step is going to be in the new pond. Everything.
Microphone, please, sir.
So,
Yeah,
the,
only
no
the,
solids in that?
no, there will be solids in that.
Just like everything coming from the well has solids.
it's the same thing. Yeah, I'm just saying the brine, or where is it? Sorry, the amenity pond right there where the ultrafiltration will kick it in. That's just your first step that kicks it right into the pond. I'm not as concerned about that one. I'm more concerned about the drying beds, and I'm concerned about the smell. Because all I need is another landfill in our city. We have enough to deal with in this city with landfill, and I know how that stuff smells. So I'm just concerned about the smell that potentially could have in those drying beds when they go to clean them or whatever. So that's been my concern of where's that drying bed at? And how are we mitigating smells and maintenance of that?
Yeah, so I will say that everything that is being discharged to the evaporation pond, all of it is odorless. The calcium sulfates, all of that don't have odor to them. Now, just like any pond, right, if you get organics and things that start to grow in it, or an animal walks in there and dies, right? Those are the types of things, but that would be typical of any source, any body of water. So what's being put into the pond won't produce any smells, but there would need to be, maintenance of the pond.
But can things like algae grow in it where it's like a brine that you're trying to dry off?
At this level of salinity, I doubt algae would be able to, I'd have to research that, but I don't
Great
know.
Salt Lake doesn't grow too many things in there.
Right. There's not much that would, algae or things because of how high of salinity the brine will have that will go to that pond.
Question that I have is this 1 acre drying pond only for the surf park?
It's for all the water that we're using in those lagoons.
All the lagoons? You've sized it for all the lagoons or just the surf park area?
The ones that we have on our property.
Which are
30
what?
acres.
I'm trying not to mix them up.
Can you go to that?
Like, I'm thinking, though I understand you only purchased a certain part. I'm trying to understand. Yeah, go to the left, Eldon.
So everything
Master plan.
within the 28 and 27.
So that's designed to handle all that.
Yeah.
That's the only area. Other places are just gonna have the right out of the well
They're
water.
just gonna have well water. Yep.
Plus,
Ours are more
plus
like
stormwater. So
plus-
the other one is storm, it's got a
Level of
standing
stormwater.
component
Oh, yeah, and stormwater. Yeah.
for expansion, and then just a sitting pool that they'll maintain with their well.
But are you using, I'm gonna say the ponds between 3 and 4 for the backwater, for that first filtration? Are you pumping out of that into here? Is that the plan?
Yeah, and what was it, 12 gallons a minute? At our highest capacity, we're 12 gallons a minute, about a size of a garden hose.
Putting in 12 and pulling out 12 to run the park, is that what you're saying?
Say that again now?
You're putting in 12 from the well source after it's cleaned, and then you're pulling that out into your building to clean it again before it goes in the lagoon?
No.
No? Well, you're discharging the
We're
water
just
in there.
discharging at our high capacity, 12 gallons per minute of that ultrafiltration into that pond between 3 and 4.
You pull it directly to your building, filtrate it, and then you discharge it, and you're just leaving it there?
In building 3 and 4, or that pond between 3 and 4.
Between 3 and
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
So you never, okay, I misunderstood. I thought you were taking that water, cleaning it, dumping it into the pond, and then pulling it from there to your building. I just misunderstood your graph for a
gotcha.
second.
Okay.
But that's what I say. So it has solids that come out of it, and it has the chemical or the different components of it that go into that, right? There doesn't need to be any type of a maintenance plan for it down the road too?
Well, those are
over
more.
time, it's got to build up to some point, right?
Yeah. If you're referring to the lagoons over there between 3 and 4, those are like taking storm drain discharge from roads, and they are the water that's coming directly from the well. Ours is just way more clean. Those ones, I'm sure there will need to be, and I think they're working on their own maintenance program with those, but they're not removing the TDS out of the water for those. They're not swimming pool quality water type.
Well, I wouldn't suggest that they would be swimming pool quality water, but, the pitch was that we're encouraging people to paddleboard and recreate, doing all this stuff in all of these, right?
It's safe to do that.
Yeah, it's safe to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can tell it's not.
I mean, I'm not gonna go hopping in it, but.
It'd be a little salty.
The Virgin River, right? Virgin River's probably higher TDS.
A lot of things I'm surprised.
I'm just being clear. It goes to the ultra filter, which is in your building, and then you're just discharging that 11 gallons per minute for backwash. That's your first step, right? So you're just pushing water into those ponds. And it's 11 gallons per minute, 24 hours a day, 12 hours a
This is
day.
our highest when we're at full operation. So in the middle of summer, we'll
Always water running through it.
not always, no.
Sometimes it turns off.
In the
depending
winter, we
on-
won't run it at all. There's no
Okay.
need. It's only because of evaporation.
Then it goes to your tank and then goes through your first RO. Then you go through your brine and then, okay.
So we've given you numbers based on maximum capacity operation, the hottest days of the summer. We go to winter where there's zero evaporation. We're not putting anything into them. We're not taking anything out. There's no need to do any of this filtration.
So you essentially have your well water and 4 discharges. One to these after the first filter, one clean water to the surf pool, one sandy salt that goes to the dump, and one that's going to a drying, an evaporation pond.
Yep.
Right?
And the evap
And
pond,
we still don't know where the evaporation pond's going.
yeah, somewhere there. We just haven't.
Is it a concrete lined evaporation pond?
It depends on what the soil looks like there, what we have. It'll be some kind of,
Clay lined or?
yeah, once again, we're an acre and we're only discharging at highest capacity 12 gallons a minute. So we've created a huge area to get rid of it quickly. You can imagine how fast water evaporates in the middle of summer. So we're not quite sure what that is gonna be, but we got a lot of different options.
Most of the time, it'll just be a little puddle in the bottom of the
It may be nothing.
basin, right?
If you really think about it, how fast
Yeah.
does water evaporate in a parking lot if you just put a hose down? And that's
Yeah.
our hope, is to not have any water ever in it, but
Yeah.
So council, as your comments on this are slowing down, I'd just like to mention that we are going to consider the approval of the conditional use permit. So if you have no more questions on this topic, if you have anything regarding the conditional use permit or who you'd like to speak to about that.
Do you have any further,
No, I mean, these types of treatment systems are used all over the world. They're very common. There are cities that desalinate seawater to provide drinking water to their citizens. So, I mean, this is a very common technology and an application. So it's something we've done a number of times. Our partner for the desalter system has done a number of these. We sent you a couple of those case studies. So yeah, it's a very common treatment process all over.
IDE that's providing.
Just the desalter portion, and we're supplying all the UF and RO system.
This is kind of new for our area, but would you say that the reason it hasn't been used is because there hasn't been a commercially viable reason to use it yet? I mean, it probably is way too expensive just to put in some sort of other pool, but if you're doing something like this with it, then it's viable?
Yeah, when you're doing it at 200 gallons a minute, it's a lot more affordable than when you're doing it to feed drinking water to the entire city. So really the big thing is the pressures, right? So it's using a lot of electricity to be able to pump at those pressures. And so when you've got the lower flow, it's not as bad. But yeah, as soon as you start scaling this up to much larger, it becomes a very expensive way to treat. And so it's usually not the first choice of how to provide culinary water to city because it is a little bit more expensive. But if seawater is your only choice, and you have no, then certainly it becomes,
So the surf pond is how big?
Total? Surf pond's 3.5 acres.
I just said
The lagoon, yeah, the
8.8.
lagoon is 9 or 8.
Is 200 gallons a minute even sufficient?
Oh, yeah. And that's at high, that's when we're at our.
But it shows it 8 acres.
What's
Is that only half? It says
So you have two of them
8.83.
there. See, 3.84.
We need you to use the microphone right there. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so there's two lagoons here, right? When we say surf lagoon, I guess they both are to a degree. So parcel B there, 883. Does that include both of them, Brandy? Oh, that's the entirety. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, yeah, that is 8.8.
Thank you for sending all this stuff to us and, talking about it a little bit. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate you bringing them down. Appreciate you being here,
Anything for me? Any more?
council. Let's continue with our consideration to approve the conditional use permit. Was there any questions? I know that we asked some last week, but you may have additional questions in that regard.
My question is still where the drying, where's it going? So I have that question, and then I'm assuming, I'd like to add some conditions which I think are implied, but like to have them as part of the permitting process of course, they got to go through all the state regulations and all that, it's not the city. I just don't want to say, just because we approve it doesn't mean that the state's going to approve requirements, which I'm sure they can work through. It's just, I don't know how to, and then I'm also concerned about the long-term of cleanup. I don't know how we do that. I'd ask Manager Red what his thoughts are on, is that out of not our deal? I'm just trying to understand.
Question before that, is that something that we attach to this conditional use permit? What councilman's concerns are, or are they addressed better in another setting?
So conditional use permits are a zoning decision. They're a subset of a zoning decision. And so with conditional use permits to enforce written code. And so if it's not written in the code, Utah Supreme Court says we're not allowed to enforce it. I think what Councilman Coates is hitting on is technical detail, which it's been staff's position all along that we'll administer those with a building permit. Water. Sense with that filtration system sitting in this building that we're having conversations about that, but the city just decide at what step are we going to administer those details. For example, the location of the evaporative area, pond, whatever they're going to call it. I think if you're going to build a surf lagoon, a wave lagoon that's going to need an evaporative pond, at that stage of that building permit, the city's going to need to know where it's located and be able to administer that against the city's codes and the building codes and the specifications that exist in the industry. State approvals as to water quality, that one's an interesting one because the state preempts the city and they don't give the city much authority as to water quality. The city can choose to set a higher standard of water quality than the state, but we don't get to change the state standards if they're not high enough for us, for example.
I'm not asking to change the state. I think we're not qualified to deal. I think the state has their people that deal with the water quality. I guess my question is, like, as part of the conditional use, it's usually where are these locations? You're looking at a site plan. We're not saying no to a use. We're saying, well, where is this stuff? I'm surprised we don't have it on our map saying, so my concern is all of a sudden it ends up next to existing residence and that's where they decide to put it. I'm like, but also, do they want to put it somewhere else? I mean, I'd hope they put it somewhere that makes sense, that gets away from all residents, and maybe Brandy can speak to what their thoughts are. I'm just trying to get clarification on where that goes. And then long-term, I would look at a condition of that a maintenance plan needs to be submitted for staff to approve. That's acceptable to them, but that's where I'm trying to find, is that our role or not that?
We don't have any codes to lean on for those conditions in a conditional use permit, but I certainly think we can incorporate those into the technical and administrative review of building permit that has to cover these elements. So if you want to submit a building permit for an 8-acre wave pool, the city certainly can ask for them for a long-term maintenance and cleanup concept, for example, right? The city certainly can say, you've got to tell us where your evaporative pond is going to be located and how it relates to this. And that, as City Manager Red and I have discussed, the city needs to know how they're getting their private water lines through public streets to serve these different uses, right? And so there's a good list of a lot of other things that we need to know as far as specification, and we can administer all of those.
Allowing their private lines in our streets?
We don't know, they haven't asked.
Not a conditional use permit, because we don't know where it will be, so we would have to go through that whole process. Are they gonna administer all those kind of things with private?
Yeah, those
Aren't conditional use permit things, but I think there's certainly staff for when they come in the permits.
So the city allows private uses within its public roadways through franchise type rights. We don't know if they even need that, but if they were to need that, that's another thing, right? We have a process. We allow the general commercial public to use franchise the road right of ways, but there's a process, there's a document. There's things that need to be done.
That has to be approved through council, or is that staff approval?
Franchise agreements usually come through council.
Okay.
They need to be measured and identified and marked, all of those things that happen in the industry. And so we don't know everything they're going to need, but that's just one example of the nature of administering a building permit application and all of the technical detail that it's going to go through. And we'll have departments that work on that quite a bit to hopefully make sure that it's reviewed and checked so that things happen in the right order and in the right way.
Thank you, Thad.
I still don't understand how they're gonna get a dump truck up to the building for back of house. I call it back of house, whatever, but I think it's probably, if they gotta do a little bit of redesign to do something like that, I don't know that really affects the CUP too much.
Yeah, that's where they'll have to figure that out before they submit for their building permit.
That's fine. They'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
No big deal. But I will say this, and I know we've had this conversation for a year and a half. The weeds down there are pretty bad, guys. We've been asking, send somebody out with a weed eater and take them down. I was down there this morning. They're pretty bad. So at least get that clean. Fair enough?
That's some advice. So council, it sounds like that you're ready to make a motion on this.
No, I'd like to talk to Brandy for a minute. You don't hear from.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brandy, I didn't see you come up there. Come on up, Brandy, sorry.
I want to know where the location is, if you have one
You're
determined.
good. Brandy Walker with Civil Science, representing the applicant tonight. I'm not trying to be evasive. The reason the exact locations have not been disclosed is we don't want to go on record saying this is it, when we actually have a few on the table, and 2 of which are not located directly right on this site. They're a little bit adjacent properties off-site, and so without committing to those, we're still in negotiations with those. There's plenty of space to do it on property that's current ownership and nearby, but there's a couple sites that have actually been ideal, and if those come through, then we want to be there on those. So we apologize for a little bit of evasiveness, just being in a public forum with that information on the exact location, but yeah, it's definitely under development, and it will, obviously.
It's a good political answer, Brandy. It's not what I wanted to hear, but it's my biggest concern.
Agreed.
Is where it's going, because, what if you put it where we don't want it? Next to a resident that all of a sudden comes complain that, hey, why'd you allow this?
Yeah.
So is there any way we can make them come back and provide those locations at a later date as a condition before submittal of building permit or something?
The question is whether you want everything to come back to the city council or whether.
I'm not saying everything. I'm not trying to make it difficult. It's just, it doesn't look like we have all the pieces yet. So how are we supposed to make our best decision without all the pieces in front of us?
let me make a comment, and you can disagree with my comment if you want to. We've disagreed in the past, but at CUP, we don't have all the pieces ever. We usually have
I'm not saying, but
diagrams that show plans, but we don't know necessarily where the dump truck's going to back up or where everything's going to go. And so that's my comment. And
it's a great comment, Jeremy. I appreciate it, but this is a pretty strategic piece that I think, I'm not saying you got to show us construction drawings. I'm saying, hey, we have a big star where the lagoon is. Where's our big star for where our drying bed is?
And I totally understand on almost all construction projects, that's handled at the staff level. If the council would like that handled at the council level, then that's certainly something you can ask for, but at almost every other.
This is lagoon 1 of 1. When they become normal, commonplace, then maybe that's a different conversation. It's a good comment. I don't know, I'm not trying to make it more difficult. My biggest fear is all of a sudden it ends up close to a neighborhood that's not even in Alea. So that's my concern, or, I mean, if it ends up south, maybe that's a better place for it. I don't know. I'm just saying there's things that can happen. But I mean, if you want to put it on St. George side, go for it. No problems. They want to take it. That's all my concern. So, I mean, I think I would feel comfortable if it gets presented to us. So I'm just trying to protect the residents that are there from, and I know they say there's not a smell, but it always ends up smelling. Ponds are smelly. It happens. So that's my concern.
So my only legal commentary, but you can ask the applicant to come back and report on it, and Brandy can agree to do that, which I think would be, well, tonight's presentation, I think, is a good example of how positive that can be, is to have experts come in and kind of give you more detail. I think that really helps decision makers. The other thing I think you could do is use this opportunity to instruct staff in how you would like staff to administer some of the technical and administrative elements of a building permit application. The challenge we have at the conditional use permit level is the Supreme Court interprets the state law to mean that we're at a conditional use because your code called something a conditional use. And so the Supreme Court says, as you look at that conditional use for an up or a down, the only standards you can apply to it have to be codified standards. And so in Washington City, we've codified the International Building Code. The Supreme Court allows a city to adopt their own code for evaporation ponds, if, for example, if that were to become an issue. We don't have that code yet. And so I would just caution that if there is a standard that you want us to use, communicate that, clarify that so we can administer it, but we don't have a city code right now that touches on that, because again, it is, pool 1 of 1 at this point.
Can I ask you one more question? Is it any of the locations proposed to be north of Groves Parkway and Warner Valley Road?
Yeah, there's 2 north.
Okay, well, that beats how I'm gonna help it. I was just gonna say, maybe it's a condition that it has to be south of those roads, but I don't want to hurt you if that's a better location. You don't have to go
Again,
to-
this project, complaining about landscape, which is valid, it's hard because there's so many players in the game. It's 500 acres. So the last thing that the gentleman sitting here tonight want to do is sabotage their own selves with a stinky pond, or their neighbors, because those neighbors, even though they're not, their home's built, they're still a part of this community. They're still within Alea. They bought into the thing. They're vocal. We hear like the landscaping, So it's even though this new development down here in this corner, it's still a common community of residents who have a voice as formerly Stuckey Farms Alea. So yeah, that's the sensitivity on where it goes.
I understand, and my concern is it gets put up next to a subdivision that's not Alea, that wasn't planning on it, and now they have a pond for this clear up north. That's my concern.
Well, I mean, nobody in the city it's valid. It's wherever it goes, whether it's south, it's gonna have, there's thought into it.
So, as bad as we've chewed you guys up on this one, and I'll admit I know it's been pretty rough. I think you've designed an attractive building. I think you've designed an attractive project. If you build the landscaping out according to the landscaping plan, I think it's gonna The landscaping is going to be very attractive. You know, we have our differences on, you know, the project itself, but I like what you've done with it. I like what you've done with the building. I like what you've done with the layout of the different cabanas and amenities and things.
Appreciate that.
And when you got an 800-foot-long building, it's tough to make them look good, right? So I think they did a pretty good job in breaking that up and trying to make it look good. So.
Thank you. Council, is there any other conversation? Are we ready for a motion?
I'm just uncomfortable about the pond. I don't know. I don't know why I am. I mean, you guys said it potentially could. I mean, you don't want a next year multi-million-dollar resort. It's just, where's it gonna go? That's where I'm at. And you know, like I said, if it's a place that doesn't affect people, then who cares? But if it puts up against existing residents, that's where, I mean, if you decide the private park is the best place to put it, you know, I mean, that would really affect other people. But I'm not saying you are, I'm saying, I'm just looking at the map, so.
Councilman Coates, if there's that much salt and whatnot they're trying to dry out of it, I'm less concerned with that one than the other ponds that are going to be sitting around, and you know they're going to be building algae and whatnot. If you want to make a motion, they bring that back, make the motion.
All right, I'll make a stab, see what people say. Yeah, go ahead, I guess.
Did you want to speak to us?
Not really, but I will. No, I'm kidding. We appreciate the compliments, by the way. Todd Amberry with the development. I just want to say, I don't know if it helps, but of the 3 locations, none of them are adjacent to residential. So I don't know if that's helpful, but I know that that's one of your concerns, and so we just want to, I mean, we don't want it next to them either, so.
I still have no idea what you're talking. So how do
I was just trying to address your concern.
It doesn't address my concern.
Okay, fair
because if I don't know where it's at, then, I mean, that helps a little, but
Yeah, fair enough.
that's all.
Yeah.
I like to know where things are going.
Yeah, and we're happy to bring it back. There's no secret. We just, one of the potential sites we're negotiating to buy it, so clearly we don't want them to think we're.
I can see the reasoning behind that. There's some issues with, there's a way that we can ease Councilman Coates' mind on that, but yet not divulge some.
I'm not trying to stick you to one spot.
Yeah, no, we get it. No,
Even if you
our
had 3
concern is the same
spots
as
and say
yours.
it
Like,
could be any of these 3, I'd be like, okay, or
I
not,
mean,
okay.
even though we didn't build the houses, they're still our residents, right? It's our community. We're responsible for it. And so, like, we feel obligations to them as well. We're not trying to stick this with anybody. We have a huge community with, you know, thousands of units that are going in. So it would be stupid of us to put it in a place where it's going to upset a bunch of people. But I get it. Like, I get your concern.
You're going to look out for your best interests.
Yeah, we get it.
Thank you. Hey, Thad, would you help kind of craft what that would look like, the motion that Councilman Coates is talking about to bring, maybe
Like craft it myself and see if Thad likes it.
to say is if you craft it, then it helps us to understand it. We want to make sure and what you're asking.
So I don't know the council members' thoughts. So go ahead, start, and then I'll help you where needed.
Tell me if I'm doing something wrong with that, but I'll make a motion that we approve conditional use permit C-25-07 for the Zion Shores development with the findings and conditions provided by staff, with the additional condition that the future 1 acre drying pond location be brought to council prior to middle of building permit application.
Once again, Cody Larkin with Zion Shores. The process that we're going through, we're trying to do a stage building permit. There's so many things that need to be built here. Priority 1 is this wave gen filtration building, which is an 18-month long process. And negotiating, trying to get, Leia's negotiating on that evaporation pond, and we're just up against a deadline. Hopefully there's a way that you can have it come before you without holding up being able to do a building permit.
Yeah.
The building? Yes. We're ready to submit tomorrow. I was ready 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
I'm not trying to hold you up on that. I'm just trying to think of a way that,
From how I just heard you say it, I got the impression.
no, that's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know, I
Gotcha.
didn't know where you're at. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to hold it, but like I said, that's not my intent to hold you up. I didn't know that would
Just so
hold
you
up.
know, we're on the same page. I mean, we're spending over $100 million on this. We're gonna be here, partners with this city for the long term. What's bad for our business is obviously bad for you and vice versa, and so we're in it to make sure that this thing goes over smooth. I know that that probably doesn't solidify in your mind that it's gonna go over smooth, but
I know you put large capital investment into the city to make capital profit, hopefully, right? That's what I get it. You're not here donating time and money. I get that. I'm not trying to make you either. I just would like, it's just burning a hole in my mind, and I was trying to find a way to do it. So I'm fine with not doing it per building permit. I'm just trying to find a way that doesn't hold you up. Do we say, my problem is, where do I do it? I can't do it as you go.
Let me maybe step in there. So staff has the briefing document with findings and then 18 conditions. I think what I heard you say was add a 19th condition that states that the applicant will present the location of the evaporation pond to the council at a future time when it's.
That's what I said.
I'm cautious for any priors or afters just because we don't know.
The drying bed for phase 1 of the project.
for phase one,
Like, I mean, you're building the whole
I
thing.
don't need the evap pond for over a year. I do need to be able to start building the building right away.
I get that.
Yeah.
I still like requiring it at the building permit for the lagoon.
But isn't that what you're submitting on? Is the
That's what
lagoon?
we're submitting on.
You're submitting on a commercial building.
Yeah, correct.
I'm
It's all
talking, so it's condition 18, is that the pool itself, the structure that holds the water, must come under a building permit of its own. So that's where staff, the city manager, and legal have always felt like technical specifications must be known. Are you saying you're building the building and the pool as one permit?
It's all on, it's all encompassing. I mean,
That's
it's a
okay,
state.
that's okay, you're just gonna need to figure your stuff out sooner.
Yeah,
So I would say before approval of building permit then.
of the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on approval of the pool and the building and everything, that, you gotta know where that pond's going, right? Like, we gotta know that detail. I mean, I would ask staff, you need that information, don't you, to approve something like that? You don't, how do you not?
It goes to my comment last week. This isn't going to be a 2-week building permit process. I mean, we're going to have to hire out. We're going to have to go through the entire process. So I recognize the speed to work with, but it's going to take some time. As much as we'd like to get the CUP approved, this isn't the kind of thing that you're ready to turn in all of the, say we don't have a design, we don't have the water system design, and we can't approve the permit, the pool, without having the water system completely approved.
So, can I interject just one thing? If, I think timeline, we can make it work if we don't have to follow the way that the city, to get to you guys takes us 45 days, just to get on your agenda. Is there a way to
But the timeline, and I'm going to try to say this in the nicest possible way, the timeline for the city is not the same timeline for the developer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, when we come back with our evaporation pond, just so we understand, when we submit that to come back before you with the location of the evaporation pond, the way we submit now to get on this council's agenda is it's almost a 45-day before we land on you from when we submit. Is there a way to submit it, and then do we have to go, we have a 30-day wait period, and then the planning commission hears us, and then we get heard by you guys?
There's not a council.
Wouldn't need to go.
Council approval or a planning commission for a building.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
to come back to show the evap pond.
So this wouldn't need to go through the planning commission, it's not a land use decision that the planning commission uses. We would give standard public notice that we're required to give anytime the city council meets. But this is a different presentation than, say, a zone change, plan change, where statute requires we let the public know.
But that I'm gonna bring up, what if the place they decide to put the pond not in a correct zone? like what if it's I don't know, I'm just saying, like, what, it doesn't have to meet the right zone to be put this in? Like, it should be at least the same zone that the commercial's in.
So we allow
Well, here, but if they choose somewhere off sites, then does that zone, I'm just saying, what if you choose a place that's R110? You can't put this on an R110 zone.
Our code allows basins in R110 zones, but again, staff is gonna have to see what they propose, look at it with a technical eye. And what I understand your motion to do is also say that the council wants to see it, and I presume that's because of what you're saying, because there might be neighbors, there might be other reasons. But we don't have any code that says you can't put a basin in R110. There's retention and tension basins all over residential zones in our city, right? This is an evaporative one. We would have to look at it from a technical standpoint. We'd have to better know what evaporative ponds are and fill and do. And then we'd have to make a technical decision about that. And so I think that it's something that we have the ability to administer. The challenge is just the timing as to when we're requiring these details to be known in the middle of what's already an existing process of vesting.
So with you're approving it, but you're just like making it sound like you're just wanting to see it. And so
Well, I don't have that part of the application.
I know, I'm just trying to understand your motion because you're saying you want to approve it and you're just wanting to see it, but what if you don't like where they're putting it? And so I just am trying to understand.
It's a concern of mine.
I understand your concern, and I'm not trying to talk against it. I'm just trying to understand if, let's say you're approving it tonight and they bring it back and you don't like where it is.
I'm saying I'm approving the building, I'm approving the lagoon, I'm approving all the equipment that's in there. I have no problems with that. Doesn't mean I'm approving this other evaporation pond because I don't have that detail to approve. That's what I'm saying.
Tonight, we're just approving of a building.
Correct, but
So I guess I'm not understanding as to why we're approving of a commercial building, so I just don't know how we're.
Lagoon that is tied to it.
Thad, would you speak to Councilman Casperson?
Well, isn't the lagoon going to be reviewed by like another technical company who you guys are going to hire to look at this? Because from my understanding, there's no one on staff that's going to be able to have the qualifications to look at this.
Correct. We've never issued a building permit for a pool of this size. And so, we don't have the in-house expertise for this. That issue was covered when council and the applicant and the original developers were negotiating the site plan amendment. That's condition 18. It says the surf pool as identified on the plan shall be constructed as a permanent structure with the issuance of a building permit for Washington City. And so that was negotiated. We were dealing with the prior owner had even more acres of water vested. So the council was trying to reduce that down from what it was for the appearances of water usage and water waste concerns from the public. And so we were negotiating them down. There was also an element of negotiating definition as to how that water could be used because the prior plan was not that precise. And so we were working on a couple different issues and interests to get it somewhere. And one of those was that if they're going to do a wave pool, it needs to be a structure and not just an earthen pond or something. They couldn't claim that it didn't have to be a permitted structure. We wanted to see a building permit because there were concerns about what if the pool fails, what if it drains, what if all of those things, right? And so all of this flowed into become a continuum, which is there was a zoning decision to amend the PCD, which allowed a new developer to come in and also added definition as to how the ponds would be used and reduced how many acres they could cover from what they used to do. And part of that was, and we anticipate when you build, you're going to need to bring us a bunch more information, and that will be technical stuff that is not of a political question, it's of a technical question. So we'll administer it through a building permit. And so that's kind of where we are today, but also looking forward to where we thought it would go once we know things. I like the idea of saying add a condition that just says they're required to inform the city of the spot they've chosen to and give us a chance to respond. And whether that's to the city manager and then he consults with the council, or whether that's in a meeting, I think the response is really a technical one for the most part. And for the city to have the chance to have a response to their location, I think is probably a fair request.
What point would that notification be made? At what point in the process that?
The discussion here is, when do we require that? My position has always been require it in conjunction with the building permit for their lagoon pool.
And that's what I'm going to agree with. Go ahead and.
So, sorry, I just had to just kind of counsel with Alea and make sure that we're on the same page. But this, maybe it's easier if we just separate the lagoon here and the building. And we'll have that when we go to get permit for the lagoon, it won't be approved, building permit approved, until we give you that location and for the evaporation pond, like we had talked before.
And we can expedite that, right? So as soon as you guys have it, bring it in and we'll have it on our next meeting.
It's really 2
1
weeks.
week notice.
If they missed the big bite.
And the other thing I like about that is you might have both building permits in operation at the same time. But you're kind of distinguishing one structure from another, even though they're partners.
Even this building is kind of a staged building permit. You know, we're asking for a foundation permit to begin with because it's such a big foundation. That's what will take them the majority of the time. It's not a full permit, it's a staged, and we're laying that out. But we could just tie the lagoon to that.
Okay, so I'm going to make a stab at my condition 19, but I'd like your buy-off on it as well, understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, Mayor Pro Tem, can I start my motion over?
You know what, let's just excuse the motion that you made and start fresh.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve conditional use C-25-07 with the findings and conditions provided by staff, plus additional condition 19, that the applicant has acknowledged they're going to split building permit applications under one conditional use permit, but that the drying bed location will be identified to council prior to pool permit.
Approval?
Pool permit approval issue.
The council, there's
the building permit for the pool.
Okay, for the building permit for the pool.
Hey, council, need any clarification on the motion? Second?
Second.
A roll call, County, starting with Councilman Henderson.
Aye.
Votes? Aye. Councilwoman Casperson? The motion passes. Oh, I'm sorry.
I get forgotten a lot.
Apologies, I need to bring you a Coke. I'm sorry. Councilman Ballaston, my gosh, I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna stay consistent on this one and say nay, but congratulations.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. Gosh, I'm forgetting Brandy. I forget you. So let's go ahead and move on to our report from officers from assigned committees. Ballaston.
No, I don't have anything right now.
Thank you. Councilman Henderson?
Mayor Pro Tem, I don't have anything either, so thank you.
Votes?
Nothing tonight.
I have nothing tonight as well. Councilwoman Casperson?
I kind of feel pressure not to do anything, but I do want to tell everyone about, if anyone is actually watching, this really, it's really entertaining meeting, but on September 19th, Riverside Elementary is doing a walk roll to school. And they're gonna have, and a lot of our city staff show up, and the health department passes out helmets and such. And then just having an update on the Wills Park, which will be finished in December. And then the canal trail those portions that we just approved will also be finished in December as well. So that's all I have.
Let's have the city manager report.
Pro Tem, I don't have a report tonight, but thank you.
Okay, there is no need for a closed session tonight, so we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilman Coates? By Councilman Belliston, I owe him. Aye, thank you. Thanks, everyone, for coming.